You feel it before you admit it. His silence cuts deeper than any argument ever could. Have you ever wondered why the man who once couldn't get enough of you now feels like a stranger? Why his texts come slower, his calls shorter, his touch colder? Have you found yourself replaying every word, every move, asking what you did wrong? Or worse, if you're simply not enough? And what you're about to hear may change everything you thought you knew. It starts quietly, almost unnoticeable at first. He used to text you "good morning" before your eyes even opened. Now the phone sits still on your nightstand, and you catch yourself checking it every few minutes, your heart leaping at every buzz, only to see it's just a notification from an app you don't even care about. When you're with your friends, you smile, laugh at the right times, and say, "Yeah, we're fine," but inside, you're replaying the way his voice sounded distant on your last call, or how he pulled his arm away just a little too quickly when you reached for him. You wonder if they notice how your laughter feels hollow. At night, when the world is quiet and no one's watching, the mask slips. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, scrolling through old conversations, reading the messages where he once couldn't stop telling you how much he wanted you. You reread them, not because you don't remember, but because you're desperate to remind yourself it was real, that you didn't make it up, that you weren't just imagining how deeply he once leaned in. You start to overanalyze the smallest things. The pause before he replies, the way his eyes drift when you're talking, the excuses "I'm busy, I'm tired, I'll call you later." You hear the words, but what you really hear is distance. You find yourself bargaining in silence. Maybe if you dress differently, maybe if you give him more space, maybe if you stop asking questions, stop showing your hurt, he'll come back. And yet, the more you shrink yourself to hold on to him, the bigger the emptiness feels. It's the quiet ache of pretending everything is fine when you're terrified he's already halfway out the door. It's the loneliness of sitting right beside him and still feeling invisible. It's the fear that you're loving harder while he's loving less. And in those moments, you don't just question him, you question yourself. Am I too much? Am I not enough? Am I losing him, or has he already gone? The reason this moment feels like a storm inside your chest is not just because he's pulling away, it's because of what it awakens in you. When a man grows distant, it doesn't just trigger your longing for him. It pulls open the wounds you've carried quietly for years. The fear of abandonment, the fear of not being chosen, the fear that no matter what you give, it will never be enough. Psychologists call this attachment activation. If you lean toward an anxious attachment style, distance feels like rejection, even if it isn't. His silence doesn't feel neutral. It feels like proof that love is slipping through your hands. That's why your mind starts spinning with overthinking, why your chest tightens, why you keep reaching for your phone even when you know he's not going to text back yet. But here's the part most women never realize. It's not just about him, it's about your self-worth. Deep down, many women tie their sense of value to how consistently a man shows love. If he's attentive, you feel beautiful, secure, wanted. If he pulls away, you feel invisible, doubting your desirability. It's like your reflection changes depending on how brightly his eyes shine for you. But here's the part most women never realize. Men pull away for reasons that often have nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's his stress, his fear of losing independence, his need to reset emotionally. Men are biologically wired to fluctuate between closeness and space. It's the rubber band effect psychologists often describe. When he stretches away, it's not always because he's falling out of love. In fact, space is often what allows him to snap back with deeper attraction. Our space and our obsession with deeper attraction. But here's the part most women never realize. Your instinct is to chase him, to call, to ask what's wrong, to try harder, to fill the gap with more of your energy. But chasing almost always backfires. It magnifies his need for space and reinforces your fear that he's leaving. The harder you grip, the faster he slips. Why? Because desperation isn't attraction. Pressure doesn't create desire. And what makes a man lean back in is not the woman who clings, but the woman who stays grounded, radiant, and whole in herself, even when he pulls away. But here's the part most women never realize. When you hold your center, when you stop tying your worth to his distance, you trigger something primal in him. He begins to feel the contrast. Her strength, her calm, her ability to breathe without me. And instead of running from your need, he starts running back to your fire. Because men don't fall in love with the woman who loses herself to keep him close. They fall in love with the woman who reminds him of what he could lose if he doesn't come closer. When he begins to pull away, the first truth you must hold on to is this: his distance does not define your worth. The emotional trap is believing that his silence means you're unlovable. The practical choice is to remind yourself daily that you are already complete. Instead of chasing him with texts or calls, redirect that energy inward. Go out with a friend, return to a hobby, breathe life back into the parts of yourself you abandoned while waiting for his attention. Imagine the difference. He's scrolling his phone in silence while you're out glowing, laughing, and living. What if you chose yourself this time? The second step is to lean into your own calm instead of his chaos. Emotionally, you want to beg for clarity, to demand answers, to cling to him for reassurance. But practically, calm is magnetic. When you respond with patience instead of panic, you show him something rare: strength in the middle of uncertainty. For example, instead of texting, "Why are you acting different?" try pulling back with grace. Give him space, and when you do interact, keep it light and warm. He'll feel the absence of pressure, and that absence creates longing. Think of the power shift here. He expected you to chase, but instead you became the calm center he didn't know he needed. What if you stopped matching his distance with fear and started matching it with grace? The third step is to quietly build the life he wants to return to. Emotionally, the fear is that if you don't hold on to him tightly, he will disappear. But practically, men are drawn to women who radiate energy, passion, and self-respect. Women who don't put their entire world on pause just because a man is uncertain. Imagine this: while he's retreating, you're signing up for that class you always wanted, posting pictures of yourself smiling with friends, growing more alive. Suddenly he sees that you're not sitting by the phone. You're becoming even more irresistible in your independence. Desire grows in the space between where you are now and the woman he fears losing. What if, instead of shrinking in his absence, you rose higher in your own presence? And the final step is to remember that his return is not the goal. Your dignity is. The emotional truth is that you want him back more than anything. But the deeper truth is that you deserve love that doesn't make you beg for it. Practically, this means setting boundaries in your own heart, deciding that you will never again contort yourself to keep someone close. Picture yourself standing tall the next time he comes back, looking him in the eyes and knowing you didn't chase, you didn't crumble, you didn't lose yourself. You stayed whole. And because of that, his respect and desire are deeper than ever. What if this time, instead of fighting to bring him back, you allowed your strength to make him choose to return on his own? You are not the woman who waits by the door, holding your breath for footsteps that may never return. You are not the woman who loses herself in the silence of a man who doesn't know what he wants. You are not the woman who begs for love like it is charity. You are the storm and the stillness. You are the fire that warms and the flame that burns. You are the woman who makes the room shift when you walk in, not because of what you wear, not because of what you say, but because you carry yourself like you already know your worth. When he pulls away, you will no longer shrink. You will no longer collapse into the shadows of his absence. Instead, you will rise taller. You will remind yourself that love is not proven by proximity but by consistency, and you deserve both. Some women spend their whole lives believing they must hold tighter to be chosen. But you are learning the truth that changes everything. The less you grasp, the more space you give for real love to breathe. You are not chasing. You are not begging. You are not breaking. You are choosing. You are shining. You are becoming. Because love is not about convincing someone to see you. Love is about knowing you are already worth being seen. So when his steps retreat, let him walk. When his silence grows, let it echo. Because a man who is meant for you will feel the pull of your strength. He will remember the woman who never lost herself trying to keep him. And when he returns, it won't be because you chased, it will be because he realized what he couldn't replace. And if he doesn't return, then you have already won. Because you discovered that the love you were searching for in his arms was always waiting in your own. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not replaceable. You are the rare woman who carries dignity like a crown. The woman who no longer confuses begging with bonding. The woman who knows her silence speaks louder than her chasing ever could. Remember this truth. The one who is meant to stay will not need to be dragged back. The one who truly loves will never let distance feel like disappearance. And the one who deserves you will never risk losing you in the first place. So tonight, when you feel that ache, whisper this to yourself. I am whole, even when he is distant. I am love, even when he forgets. I am worthy, even when he wanders. And let this final question echo in your heart long after the video ends. If you stopped fighting for the man who pulls away, wouldn't you finally make room for the one who would never leave?